Hey everyone, it's Donna here again, inviting you to today's self-love reunion speaker, and I am super excited. First, I invite you to hit the subscribe button, and just to remind everyone, this self-love reunion was put together because 1 in 2 women across the globe actually have more self-doubt than self-love. This reunion is here to help transform and help people get into that space of deeper self-respect, because love is the most powerful force in existence. I'll see you on the inside. Well, hello, it's Donna here again with the Art of Self-Love Reunion, and I am super excited to be sharing the next 45 minutes to an hour with our special guest. Our special guest today is Dr. Yasmilde. She is a healer and a scientist. Cuban by birth, she settled in Ottawa, Canada in early 2002. She dedicated over 30 years to health sciences training and practice, defending 4 scientific degrees, the last one in a PhD in neuroscience. It was a result of her own personal healing and growth journey that she discovered she had always been a healer. After intense training and hands-on experience and years of meditation practice to hone her innate abilities, she founded Equilibrium in 2017. It's a private practice focusing on energy healing and meditation. Her vision is to heal emotional blockages and traumas for socially conscious high achievers so that they can remove their inner obstacles, discover themselves, and serve at their highest level. Her medium is revealing what needs healing at a soul level and guiding you until your soul shines bright at the end of the process. Well, Dr. Yasmilde, thank you. Hello.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Donna. Super happy to be part of this project. Absolutely love it.
Well, and I'm super excited, and I must share with the audience first and foremost, we go a few years back now. I came across Dr. Yasmilde when she was early on and honing in more and more of her gifts. And subsequently, through all of that, I actually, knowing where I needed to be on my own journey, was nudged into and had been working really with Dr. Yasmilde and her foundation's programs. So this whole aspect of self-love and what you do is so important to me because I've seen it firsthand. So in crafting this project and really wanting people to understand that beautiful space of self-love and how together we are revitalizing the human spirit, because that ultimately is what you do, I truly wanted you to be here and really share with everyone what it is you do. So I'm going to let you speak. I really want to delve in. First of all, you had a personal journey. So I think in order to connect a bit with the audience, talk to us a little bit about that, because sometimes experts seem as if they're outside of our realm and yet they're still continuing to do work. So if you could share some of your own journey and then what it is and this whole science, let's go.
Super happy to do that, no problem. Human here, 100%. And what happened is that I was born with this compulsion to see people happy. And that shaped the way I was since a very, very, very early years. It was when I was 13 that I decided that becoming a scientist would be the way that I would help the world. And I was extremely committed to it. So that brought me to that journey of, in Cuba, I actually did 3 degrees. All of them in life sciences, biology, biochemistry, human vaccines. 2 master's degrees were in those last 2 ones. That then came to a point where I needed to go out. Cuba wasn't allowing me to serve the way that I wanted. And that was the reason why I left. And so I decided to come to Canada because I knew Canada. I've been here for work before. And then when I came, because I couldn't find a space in the industry that I had been part of for 8 years at the time, at that time. I decided to go back to university. And so that's when I did my PhD in neuroscience. And that allowed me to stay 15 years in the field of Parkinson's and stroke-related research. And so that was, all in all, was like 30 years of science research, both basic and applied research. But then at the same time, in my personal journey, I lost my mom to cancer when I was only 30, or even a bit before that. I immigrated to Canada a year after that under conditions that I knew no one. I didn't know where I could sleep that day, or when I would get a job. And a year after that, I divorced my first husband after 14 years of relationship. And a year after that, I involved in the PhD. Any of those four things are actually known to knock a bunch of notches out of people's sanity. And all of that brought me to a place where I was suffering from several chronic conditions on different intensity. I was battling with depression episodes, even if I was a very functional depressed, because people couldn't tell. Even in my worst, people in my laboratory would still call me the rainbow of the place. But it was on the private space or the safe space of my own place where I could collapse. And all that brought me to I felt broke, really. It was this thing that I did. I wasn't 100% happy with the job that I had and the way that I was doing. I didn't feel I was serving the way I wanted. Everything was falling apart. And I don't know, there's this thing, a trigger for survival that was woken up inside of me one day. And I just woke up and said, enough, I'm done. I am done with crying and being unhappy and not having what I want. Like, I'm done with that. And you know, as well as I do, that when you get to those levels of commitment to yourself or to something, to a solution, the universe opens up like a flower for you and starts showing you alternatives. And that's exactly what happened. Things started showing up, and it happened that I discovered the world of energy and energy work. I started at the speed of light training in different healing modalities. I started applying them from the very first day. I started meditating, and that was a game-changing experience. And I discovered that I had been wrong thinking that I needed to go at it alone. So I opened myself for help, to be helped, to be tutored, to be mentored, to be coached through the whole thing. And one day I just woke up and said, hold on, I have always been a healer since I have a conscience. And so I decided then to take the call, to move and leave behind 30 years in science, as a science career, to being a healer full time. And the reason why I think I can help my clients is because I went through it. Right? It's a personal experience. It's not something I learned or anybody taught me. It's something I go through every day.
Well, I think there's two things there that come up. One, you lived it, so we see the human side, and we can. And I'm always fascinated because everything that you did as a scientist, it's all brain. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness. And that's where I think for me, I mean, my career ended up being more tactile and that type of thing. However, I still got stuck in the brain, and this anxiety that happens puts us into all of this. So you say, so there's that aspect, and then you say, you get this calling, but you also went out and you had mentors and teachers. And I think there's something that's maybe a missing thread for a lot of people, which is in this new world of energy and and hearing that, my apologies.
The world intruding.
Okay, I thought I turned the phone off. I know I have the
My mother.
The space is, we all have that ability. Now, we don't need to get into necessarily all of it, but there's training, there's continual stuff that you're doing, right? And it's in, well, it is, I mean, I guess we do need to. It's in that, because what you do is you do teach people how to bring that out of that head into this space of, okay, there's more to me, right? So, and again, I've needed to get out of that high achiever. I already thought I knew it all. I'm like, of course, right? And you're pushing all the time until the body contracts so much and you're hurting yourself so much. So because this is self-love, this is helping people get to that space. Your story's there, but let's share around, taking that high functioning capacity and what do you do? How do you help people maneuver some of this?
That's the first thing is I don't tell them I'm helping them do that.
There you go. So if you come across but be clear, because I think there's something there. You're not,
yes, of course,
tapping in and judging them. That is something very different, right?
Yes. So the shift dot changes. It becomes obvious to the person. And I think we share these ones that I said, okay, it is easy for me to let go of that part because being in science 30 years, it was extremely obvious to me that that way of thinking wasn't bringing me to the place that I wanted. The contrary, it brought me to a very, very dark and broken place. So because of that, it was relatively simple for me to let go of the need to know, to figure out, to plan ahead, to have control over anything that was happening to me. I came to a point where, and I'm saying this because from the healer point of view, it is very obvious to me that whatever triggered your decision to come into healing yourself will determine how committed you are to that process. And one of the most drastic ways that you can come to into your healing journey is the way that it happened to me, is that go bottom to a place where you know there is nothing else beyond that. I mean, it can't get any worse. So because of that, then it's a survival instinct. It's like something has to change because it's very obvious. Not to say that people that don't go there don't find their own way to get into the journey. I do have plenty of clients that come from that place. But what I'm saying is it's relatively easier to actually get into the journey. For people that are not in that situation, then they come into the debate that you used to have yourself, right? Like, I need to know, I already know, I already learned this. Why is it not working? What do I need to do to make this happen, right? That is an energy of, it's a pushy energy, like I say, right? And healing has the very interesting characteristic that for you to be able to heal something, you have to love it first. It doesn't matter how terrible it looks to you, it feels to you, how bad an opinion you have of it, of the people involved in it, including yourself. You need to come to a place where you recognize that that served you, that there were good things coming out of it, that you change and transform, and in some way, that brought you to the decision that you're taking today. So it was a trigger for transformation. And only because of that there are more things, but only because of that is deserving of your love, of your appreciation and your respect. Only when you come at it from that energy, then you can transmute it, you can transform it, you can move on. Otherwise, you still have attachments, energetic attachments, emotional attachments to it.
Well, and I think this is the thing. We all, right? So people come to it, which is, I don't even know that I need to be healed. There's nothing wrong with me until you, and if you want to explore that more and more so that you're truly opening up the heart, right? Like you're opening people in that space of, how do I love myself? We don't even realize, oh my God, the person, we have this innate desire to belong. And it's like, because your self is calling yourself to love on you. And it's not a selfish thing. It's the most selfish and self-loving full thing that we can do to come to that space. Yeah. So, but it's not an easy journey to get there, right?
No, no. Yeah.
There's states of healing. So let's explore that a little bit.
Yes. So there is something that became very obvious to me while I was doing my own work. And it is that everything we need to, let's put it this way. You are born already really unique, special, required, brilliant, beautiful. We are born that way, right? It's everything that happens to us, especially between under the age of 7, that starts shaping the way you start seeing the world, interpreting and perceiving the world around you. And that leads to imprints, mental imprints and energetic imprints. And that was something that became really clear to me. It's not only about the mind. It has to have a component, an energetic component to it. So that whole thing, you need both approaches. You need to approach both things with the same enthusiasm, to put it somehow. So the self-loving thing is the journey. I used to say the best gift, the best service you can bring into the world is resurfacing that brilliant creature that you are at the core of you. That is there. It might have a bunch of stuff piled on top of it, but that is still there, right? So if you want to serve, that's the best of the services that you can do. If you want to find the energy that is needed for you to become what you are meant to become, that's what you have to do. Everything you want to serve, to change in the world, goes through you bringing your true self out of you. And so that, it makes it very, very interesting. And I want to talk about it because this is about self-love, right? So in the many years that I have been doing this, because like I said, I've always been a healer. I remember friends calling me the therapist of the group, right? So I've been doing this for a lot of time. And in all of that time, I realized that there is something that I call the apparent inner certainty that determines how joyful and happy you are going to be in your life. And that, what the apparent inner certainty is, the state of mind that is behind the opinion you have of yourself, the level of appreciation or respect you have of yourself, the level of self-confidence you do have, the level of self-love, everything that has come to happen out of all those human experiences that you've had since the day you were born, right? So depending on what's the status or the level of that apparent inner certainty is how your life is going to happen around you. And there are 4 states that you can be at, depending on that. The first one is what I call a punitive state. And that means when that apparent inner certainty, that opinion you have of yourself, has become your worst enemy. It keeps you in a dark place. The second state is what I call a perplexing state. And it is where that opinion of you doesn't allow you to have clarity on what is it, where do you want to go? What is it that you need? What is important to you? What makes you happy? What do you want out of your personal life or your professional life? Right? And that keeps you in a state of confusion that doesn't allow you to move forward very far. The third one is what I call an assertive state. And that one is when your apparent inner certainty makes you think that you need to be in control. You know you're there, exactly. It's when you think that you need to make things happen in a specific way, that you need to be involved, that you need to be busy, to get busy with things. There is not a lot of introspection. It's a pushy energy. And those people have it not bad. Like usually they are pretty good professionals to be with. But independently on where of those three states you're at, and sometimes you have a little bit of one, a little bit of the other one.
I was going to say, I'm like, I can see certain, and I remember, and there's certain times where I'm like, I'm really good at this thing, but this other thing has this trigger, right? Or something, right? And I think that's the whole, but I want it all to be perfect, right? So
exactly.
So we all flow through these three things you're saying.
Yes, and it does, and it also happens that for some aspects of your life, you might be a little bit higher in the scale, and in some other aspects of your life, not so much, right? So yes, we have patterns that we are that complex, right? But you, independently on where you are or what combination of it you have, everybody that I know wants to be in the fourth one.
Okay.
And that one is the one I call in flow. That is when your apparent inner certainty is in balance with your real nature, with you really, truly are. And when you're there, the world opens up for you like the Red Sea to Moses. It's a place where you live life excited, motivated, inspired. You know exactly what you want out of everything. You come fully into all of your experiences. There is no such a thing as problems or obstacles. You see those as opportunities, like to discover yourself or to engage in change or anything like that. It's all about you are 100% in love with yourself and with everybody around you and the world at large.
And then you become truly a real high achiever, being your state of love and joy and access and everything, because you've aligned to something bigger than this personality, this identity that you created, this stuff that you say is piled on top of us. And again, people piles and piles and piles and piles and piles and piles. So exactly. And I'm open to the fact that, hey, now because I know I don't know, I'm open to, okay, I don't know what it is, but wow, do I have the tools to navigate through all of that, right? So right. I think there's so much here. You also, your company Equilibrium, right? So it's around helping people pursue that balance in them and around them. And you use healing and you use meditation and mindfulness. And I think let's just talk a little bit on that, because we all hear energy is everything, right? We've got this big, okay, we know what's going on. But when it comes to slowing down to feel and into that flow, right? What are some things, maybe little tips you can share with, or even what meditation maybe really is in some regard, without getting into the whole thing, but share from that perspective, because you are coming head and heart, right?
Yeah. So if I put it into the perspective of what I just described to you, what I do is to help the person navigate from wherever they are in the first three states into the fourth, right? That's a big transformation. And that needs tools or resources of four kinds. And that is based on what I think I found are the 4 main causes of why you are not 100% happy. The first one is because we have disconnected ourselves from our inner wisdom. You ignore your inner signals. Right? We either don't know, we don't see them, we don't perceive them, or we ignore them. Whatever that is, you are not allowing yourself to be guided by your inner compass. We are born with that. So that's one thing. The next could be that we develop bad patterns and habits that we perpetuate based on that opinion of ourselves that we have, that apparent inner certainty. Right? If you don't think you deserve this, you will actually be perpetuating what you're doing, which is not that good for you. Right?
And back to that is in that when you tap into that, but I do, but I don't care. I'm just using my teacher said I can't. My father said I can't.
Exactly.
My other people, right? So it's clearing out the whose noise is it? Whose voice is it really? Right?
Exactly.
Keep
right?
going, sorry.
Exactly. And so for that, you need habits that will allow you to shovel through that pile, right? So that's one thing. The third thing that influences the level of happiness that you have is that there is no plan. You're scattered all over the place because you don't have a clear idea of what does it entitle to get to where you want, or you don't have a clear idea of what is it that you want. You don't even have that. And because of that, you're aiming everywhere without exactly knowing where to focus or what to do and how to do it and when do I need it, that kind of thing, right? Like there is no clear picture of that for you. And the fourth one is that we had been convinced by society that you should do it alone. You should know how to solve this. Knowing has become the way we show intelligence, that we show resourcefulness. We get validation, or we perceive as validation of ourselves when we say, oh, I made it, I did it, I made it happen. And we operate from that way of thinking. Well, all those 4 things are going to lead you to a pretty bad place. Right. And the programs that I have, which is, again, intended to bring you from wherever you are into being in flow, address all those 4 things. So you will get tools that will walk you experientially on how to discover and connect with your inner wisdom, with that language that you have inside, that knowledge. And that might come in the way of energy healing modalities that you would learn to do yourself, or you would receive from me or from the rest of the people in the group. It could come from specific practices, mindfulness exercises, or any other energy medicine exercises, whatever it is at any given moment, because it is a progressive process. For the bad habits and the patterns, you will also get supported that way, because I will show you how to create new habits. I will create an accountability space where you can allow for yourself to be supported by, so that you keep a practice long enough that it becomes a new habit. And in the process, you start understanding where the other ones came from and why have you kept them. That makes it easier how to let them go. And so it's all the mindset associated with it you also get, right? And same kind of tools with exercises, accountability and stuff. The no plan and scatter is also addressed, because you learn how to create an intention. What is it? How to put power behind it. We do a lot of exercises and where you explore emotionally, what does this mean to me? What is my why? Why, how can I do, what should I do to allow my energy to come to a place where I can focus? What's the strategy I need to? What do I need to get, to manifest, to attract, so that I can move forward? All of that you learn and you get all those tools. And then definitely not going at it alone.
Yes.
You learn that one, you need to go, for you to become happy, for you to embody happiness and joy, you have to balance, to open yourself up to receiving. And that is something that many people struggle with. So working in a group, as a community, you will be re-educated to open yourself up to receiving healing from others, receiving support from others, receiving respect, appreciation, and all the things that you are cultivating inside of yourself. So yeah, definitely not alone.
So many things there. There's, you know, because, and again, because I was in the program, but I remember early on, I had this huge, like, you want me to heal within a group? It's one thing for me to see you as a doctor and have this alternative solution, because I grew up where, you know, my parents were much more into natural healing and explored that. And, you know, we were nature peeps, right? And I'm a nature spirit to begin with, which we know, but there was an alternative, right? I didn't need the pill. And if I needed something, I learned that, oh, that was just for that thing for that moment, it's gone. But to come into this group and now have people hearing and actually hearing me say out loud that, and then shine back, that took a long time until this group component, and there's beautiful science around this work, and you've brought it into the program, for allow people to have that truly safe space. I mean, you're coming from a truly high vibrational energetic, you've learned to tap that in, you're teaching us how to tap in, to clear that noise that's in us, to truly tune into, okay, because whether somebody believes it's God's source energy, something bigger than themselves, there's always something. We know there's a voice that's talking to us, wherever in that body it is. But it is that space of vulnerability. And I used to look at vulnerability as this, well, it is that scary thing. It's courage, right? Never looked at it from that side, right? It's that language. It's I looked at it as, I can't let somebody know that there's something wrong with me, right? But the beautiful is, as you learn and trust yourself and the fact that, oh my God, all these other people are aspects of me. Big lesson, right? We all are learning that we need love, right? As choppy as it feels as you're going through it and being like, today I want to throw it out the door. No, nobody understands me, right? It's an emotional roller coaster until we start to learn to love on us the only way that we know, which is, how would we want to love on us, right? Sorry, I know I said lots of things there, but keep sharing, because I love it.
I smile when people hesitate at the beginning, and I get it, right? Like, I understand why that is happening. But the motivation to encourage them into the experience is that I have seen magic happen in those settings, because the first thing you discover is that you have a lot in common with other people. You start learning about yourself through listening to the others. You start healing yourself through healing others, because then you get that opportunity as well, right? You understand what it means to be connected genuinely, because you experience it during those sessions. And that brings about something that we as society has stepped away from for many, many decades. And it is part of our nurture and nature. So, and I always tell people, it's science. It's science. Science has demonstrated that in many, many ways. There's a lot of published peer-reviewed evidence out there that what I'm saying is true. And so the way that you can connect to that and tap into the infinite joy available to you inside and outside of you is through connecting to others, it's through experiencing that. Yeah. And so that accomplishes it. And I live in awe of the things I am a witness of, because in the space of those sessions.
And I think for anyone that's listening, I know for the group that I've been involved with there, and it's one thing to hear Dr. Yasmilde speak of her own, human experiences, but in the group, someone has panic attacks, someone's a hermit, they don't want to, someone has cancer, right? Everyone has such different aspects, and everyone comes into that space with the true honor and respect of another person, and they continue to learn that and cultivate it, which is so beautiful. You're learning compassion for yourself, which is that self-love. And then because you're giving it out, people start to see that beautiful, true essence really of who we are. And they come into that natural rhythm and into that flow that you speak of, right? Yeah, exactly. It's healing is such a beautiful thing.
I know.
and it's hard to explain that to people when you are in a space of trauma. And it's to understand trauma has so many things, right? It's not just stubbing your toe, it's not a trauma, it's not a wound, and it doesn't have to be something as big as cancer. It can be my relationship, something just sucks here, right? Exactly. And we want more, and because we haven't seen more, right?
Yes.
And I'm not going to say haven't seen more, because there's many people that can truly tap into, and you ask them, go back to moments, but it's to say that they haven't allowed themselves through their own gratitude process to truly be, wow, I do have a good life, right? I have my version of what's a good life. We want to be everybody else instead of, hold on, what am I supposed to be walking in myself, right?
And so the thing is, I always, when I talk to people that are evaluating the possibility of getting into the program and into the journey, I always tell them, like, the only thing you need to bring yourself to is the decision of taking one step, the first one. Don't think about everything that is going to entitle. Don't freak about the investment or the time that you are going to have to dedicate to it. It's don't tap into any of that. Just go to the place where, can I afford to keep living the way I am? Can I afford to let go of a possibility of a better life, better me, better relationship, better outcome, better outlook of life? Can I let go of the possibility of infinite joy inside of myself and helping everybody around it? Just that's the one thing you need to tap into, and just take one step, because the place where you're at when you take that step is going to be very different than the one you're going to be 2 weeks down the line.
Right.
It becomes easier and easier and easier, right? So is that first one the important?
I get so excited because I know the trepidation I had for a long time, but when you truly do see in a short period of time, it becomes, it's exactly what you're saying. It's why everybody else, why not me? Well, you know what? We don't know truly what's going on with everybody else. We have this idea of what it is. They could be just, freaking out on the inside, like most people are, until they go through these personal development, more growth, more transformation, and honoring that. And I think one of the beautiful things in the group is, because people have a weekly, I'll use accountability, but it's accountability to ourselves, but you have this space where you go in and you can talk to and just bring up what happened, right? What happened, right? And also, people have made different connections. It's not there to make anyone have to do anything. It truly opens you up to what has been missing in the space of, wow, I actually am supposed to like people and be connected to people and want to spend time with people. No, they don't have to be my best friends, right? Like whatever that means to people. It's just who's vibing, where are we at? And I think there's so much now with technology, right? And you're saying it's this technology that we have is beautiful. Why else we wouldn't be able to otherwise do it this way? We wouldn't be able to reach as many people. But we're talking universal intelligence and technology that lies within us, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So okay, so let's let's talk about some of the, maybe, I mean, we both know.
Now I realize that we never talk about meditation. Like you,
right.
you
yeah. Okay, so go there. Yeah, please do.
No, just a tiny little clarification, right? I used quite a bit guided visualizations for the process. It's something that that engages your mind and your energy at the same time. So it's a tool that is very, very important to the process, what I use. And that is what other people, what we refer to by being mindful. It's like you are present in the process that you are going through. And I use a lot of guided visualizations for it. But a lot of people refer to those exercises as meditations. And that is not what I call meditation. What I call meditation is something you do on your own. There is no guidance from anybody. And there are different modalities to it. Mind you, you can even meditate while you're walking, right? But it is an altered state of consciousness. Mindfulness is something that activates specific parts of your brain. Meditation is something that engages your whole brain. Just like sleeping is one state of consciousness, dreaming is another state of consciousness, being awake and about is another state of consciousness. Meditation is another state of consciousness that is different to the one that mindfulness creates. And so the program that is for meditation, to teach you how to do that, which goes way further, it's about spiritual development. And that comes after healing, okay? And so when we go there, then meditation is the practice, has to be a practice, something you do absolutely every day of your life, that allows your human side to commune with your spiritual side. It's where you take time to tap into everything that you are that is beyond your physical body. That is meditation. There are many ways of getting there, but that's what it is. Mindfulness and guided visualizations are a different thing. You're more active. It's a different, again, state of consciousness. But that's the difference. I use them both for different purposes.
Well, and you use the space of, first of all, we need to ground, but you come from a natural way of doing this, right? You're not taking people into altered states with ayahuascas and all of these other things that people hear of. You're truly teaching people, hey, I've got that ability within me, right? Again, it takes some time. It's not this magic pill that happens overnight. And yet, because there is no time and space, once you understand this, but to be clear for everyone, it can happen this fast for someone, right? And there are aspects that for myself have been like, that's gone. I don't even remember who that person was. And the next thing may take longer because the triggers that held it in that space were there longer, right? So it's this alignment that you're doing all the time, this flow, right? That balance, but it's truly this alignment and seeing the entire bigger picture, right? Yes. I know for myself, and one of the key things is in grounding ourselves. We don't know what that means. You teach people from many different lenses. You don't have to certainly get into the process much today. You can a little bit, but it's truly for anybody at any point in their day. How you need to get into that state so that life can even begin to stop this noise that's around us, right?
Yes. So the whole, both of my programs, they are imbued by this intention of allowing you to discover, to tap, to take on, to step into the powers that you already have. Moving energy is something that allows your natural pathways of self-repair, self-healing to happen. And we all have the power of doing that for ourselves. We all do. So healing is something that does happen in a second. And when it happens, you don't even remember the way things were before. I laugh because I always ask, in order for people to become aware of how far they've come, right, and honor and celebrate that, I always ask the question, oh, what changed? Oh, okay, no, I'm good. I'm not. Yeah, but do you remember this? Oh, true. So now you see the change, right? But when healing happens, that is natural. That like you actually forget what the way you used to be. Mm-hmm. The thing is, we do have different degrees of resistance to that healing. The smaller the resistance, the faster you get to that point of shifting, right? So it is through the resistance that we do a lot of our work. But at the same time, we do it in a way that you can reproduce the process. Mm-hmm. You are learning and acquiring tools also with the know-how to discover what are they doing for you? When do I need to use them? How do they work better for me? It's a process that is empowering from the very beginning to the very end. You grow and expand during it, which is why joy is always at the end of that journey, because you become something else through your own doing. It's a very active and interactive process.
It's once you maneuver through it and you understand, it's like, wow, I can actually, I can empower and inspire my own self even, right? Like it's not always another person, but oh, I can do that for myself. Now, let's, we don't have too much time. We've got a little bit, but that's not all you do. You have some private practice where people come in, but you also have, you've got some new stuff that's going to be unfolding, and maybe it's not something to share the entire thing, but for people out there, I mean, people already have potentially different healers that they work with, different types of modalities, or they're just wanting to tap into what I'm going to use is this pure essence that you bring. I mean, I think until people can work with you and understand, you have a very clear quality and divine quality that you're able to, I will use the word channel, but it becomes your essence when you tap into your work. And I'll come from that work aspect, not that you aren't it in your day-to-day, but when you're working with people. So you have, you know, this new opportunity that people, you know what, maybe just want to tap in for once a month and come into a healing group, right? And sit in to understand. Maybe let's talk just a little bit about that for people, because this is sort of some new stuff that's unraveling. So if you want to share a little bit about that.
Exactly. So one sentence before that, yes, I do hold private sessions. They are part of the process. And that becomes a lot more personalized because and thank you, by the way, for everything that you just said. I'm a very intuitive healer. So whatever you need at the very specific moment, that's what's going to happen, right? So that does happen as part of the program or outside of the program. But the new thing that is coming that has me really, really excited is that I want to put out there the possibility of those that for any reason cannot get involved at the level of the program, they do have access to the magic power of those group sessions. I have seen so many amazing things happen there that I decided to put it out there as through a membership. So it could be something you commit to every month or every 6 months or once a year, to come together with a group of people and have experience what that healing group session entitles, to get the advantage of interacting energetically with all that group of people with my guidance, and then have the opportunity to ask me specific questions about either whatever you are in your journey or whatever you doubt, or questions about what to do, or anything, suggestion that I could have, anything. So I'm going to put that out there in the way of a membership, so that as many people as possible can enjoy that.
Well, and I think what we shouldn't leave it off the table that you are Cuban, which means you're Spanish. So you have this and you offer this for the Spanish community as well. I think it's big, it's great. I mean, here living in Ottawa, which we do, and Canadians across, you hear the French English, but you're opening it up to your own, your natural abilities as well. So maybe share a little bit about that, because I think
yes. So all of those sessions, even part of the ones that are part of the program, happen simultaneously, both in English and Spanish. What that means is, and again, magic. The energy is not broken by the fact that I can say a couple of sentences in English and then in Spanish and so forth and so on. It's just energy, frequencies that are happening. And because of that, these sessions are going to be held for both Spanish speakers and English speakers. And it will help them, like I've seen it happening, both of them. But I do want to open them to everybody that wants to come.
It's beautiful. So let's just maybe end it there. And but not. I want to first thank you so much for being here. There is so much. I mean, the field of energy and energy medicine and healing, it's all just it's exploding right now, and truly from that brilliant space. So to have someone like yourself in this world doing this and teaching other people how they can heal themselves and learn how to, right? Because there's many levels. So we'll leave it there. But just so that everybody knows, Dr. Yasmilde, in the collection for at-home solutions, she's going to be helping you tune in a bit more. So you don't want to miss that. You know where to go. Check out the feeds below. And thank you again. Always a pleasure.
My privilege.
To share with you. It's beautiful. And I think all of your clients can attest to that. So that's everything for now. So we will see everyone again very soon. Take care.
Yes, and I hope you guys take advantage of that exercise that I'm putting out there.
Absolutely, it'll be available 365 days a year, but just take advantage, and then you've got it, and use it when you do need it. So that's perfect. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you.